Hi, my name is Ryan, and today I'm going to be showing you how to play chess. The first thing you need to know is how the pieces move. There are 6 different kinds of pieces. First up, the knight. The knight can move like an L shape, and it is the only piece that can jump over pieces in the game, even your opponent's pieces. The bishop can move diagonally either way, but it can't jump over pieces like the knight. The rook moves in a straight line in either direction. You usually can't use it until later in the game since it's stuck in the corner. The queen is the most powerful piece in the game. It can move like the bishop and rook. It can move diagonally or straight. Next is the pawn. When the pawn is in the starting square, it can have the choice to move either 1 or 2 spots, but once you move it, it can only move 1 spot for the rest of the game each turn. When taking a piece, the pawn can only take 1 square diagonally. Note that the pawn cannot move backwards. When a pawn reaches the end of the board, you can turn it into either a queen, knight, bishop, or rook. It's up to you. Last but not least is the king. The king is the most important piece of the game. It can only move 1 square at a time in any nearby vacant space, and it's your most vulnerable piece. When your king and or either of your rooks haven't moved from their starting positions, they can do something called castling. Castling on the king side means moving your pieces to these squares, and your queen side to these squares. Now that you know how the pieces move, it's time to learn the basics of chess strategy. You should first know your objective of the game, which is to checkmate your opponent. This means to put your opponent's king in a position where he or she is in check and they cannot make any other legal moves. A check is when the king is under the threat of being captured, to which you have 3 ways to respond. Move your king, block the line of fire, or capture the piece that is making the threat. Chess is divided into 3 stages of play: the opening, middle game, and endgame. The opening is essentially the beginning of the game where you should focus on developing your pieces and gaining control of the center. Typically, players will move their pawns and minor pieces, which include knights and bishops. In the opening, you should focus on trying to control the center squares with your minor pieces, which will help you later on to mobilize your pieces and create an attack. The middle game of chess is where most of the action happens. You will want to start carrying out attacks on your opponents and capturing pieces. The middle game is one of the most complex stages that will define the outcome of the game, so you want to be sure to take the initiative and gain an advantage over your opponent. The endgame is the last phase of chess, and it will involve much fewer pieces than the opening or middle game. Endgames are very theoretical and generally come down to who is able to escort their pawns to the end of the board. Once that happens, the checkmate is inevitable. And that's everything you need to know to get started on your chess journey. Feel free to do more of your own research online. There are hundreds of possible chess openings and endless possible positions that can arise during your games. Play games with your friends and opponents online and study your mistakes to keep improving. That's all I have for you. Until next time, I'll see you all later. Happy playing!